Hi guys, and welcome back. Today I'm gonna be going over San Isidro Pedestrian. You know, uh, the I guess the what I can compare it to, it would be like a busy subway station with like a 2 or 3 hour wait to go through the turnstiles. And there was numerous stations there. There was actually when you walk through pedestrian, actually the bus lane, the taxis. There used to be a bicycle lane an actual yeah, a visa lane for you to actually qualify or actually applied for a travel visa from Mexico. That was always a busy spot in the actual pedestrian area. You got to figure it's a pretty big area. You would think it'd be more of a controlled environment, but it wasn't. It was out of control sometimes, to tell you the truth. And it was as simple as slipping through or underneath, the actual the the actual turnstiles in the actual there's about maybe about 10 lanes. They're not all manned at the same time. One could be laned and one would be in service, the other one be not in service and not just to actually kind of spread the actual crowd, the people, right? To separate them, to have a little bit more of a look of what actually is going through, what's not going through. You have to figure on the actual non uh, used lanes, the closed ones, they can actually sneak in through the bottom of the railing and actually just blend in with the traffic that's already been cleared, like that, right? So you basically you can sneak your way in, and it was as easy as that. It was as easy as that, to tell you the truth. And people have to. Every person that goes through that actually has to present some kind of document. Doesn't matter what age you are. You have to present some kind of document, so you can just imagine the actual time consumption that takes. And if there's a in question about one, you have to actually walk that individual to immigration side. If there's a question on the customs, you have to send them over to the customs side. So that all takes time, and that all takes your eyes away from uh, the overall of the actual lanes. Because someone calls you over and you break off of that. Just in that second, somebody can sneak in, and the trolley was just right there, right, just feet from the actual exit of the actual uh, port. And so when you have all that going on, you just figure, what goes through, what doesn't go through. And on certain days, you would actually have parents switch off kids. Either they'd be going north or south, and there was a little leniency. There was a little agreement between the parents and the actual supervisors of the actual immigration and customs. They both had to agree. So there was numerous swaps on certain days of actual from parent to parent. The kids, the minors, they had to have the legal documents and they had to actually be on file with the actual with the supervisors, just for the fact that to make sure that everybody's being truthful, everybody's being honest. So when a parent's returning the kid or actually giving a kid to uh, a weekend parent, so that way there wouldn't be any problems. Not that customs or immigration would have anything to do with that. If that were a problem, the State Department actually handles that, not the actual customs, not the Treasury. The actual State Department would handle that, along with runaways, along with kidnappings or parent kidnappings. That would be the State Department. It would not be customs. And unfortunately, a lot of parents would go there first to actually try to file a report, and you can't. And if they're runaways, they would try to leave posters, or if they're missing posters, but we can't because it's still a federal facility, and you got to keep the integrity of the actual federal compound. And then you can't just put flyers up in the middle of a wall, in a federal building. You just have to look at it that way. Not that we didn't want to, not that we didn't actually try to help out, but that's just the way it is, straight across. The rules on actual federal buildings. And when stuff like that happens, it's actually hopeless because we can't really lend a hand. Well, we can't lend a hand at all because we don't have the actual tools and the actual know-how on to handle situations like that, unfortunately. And if you were a minor, uh, basically 16 or between 16 and 17, if you try to cross it, you could cross with your actual school ID, but you also had to have a parent's permission slip on hand with a phone number to verify. And we did call, we would call the actual parents. And it was common to actually see uh, recent surgery patients come through there. For example, nose jobs, any kind of liposuction, any kind of how do you say it, procedure, like a cosmetic procedure. You would see the patients walking back through the actual pedestrian lanes instead of getting a taxi or a bus to come through. They would actually walk and freshly off the surgery room. As soon as they release them from the anesthetics and they get cleared off on that, they would come across with bruised eyes, with the nose jobs and stuff like that. And it was actually it wasn't a good sight. It wasn't a good sight. And they were actually coming off their meds and carrying prescriptions. And if they had a prescription on hand, they can cross the actual the the painkillers and stuff like that for the after surgery. But it was actually uncomfortable, yes, to say the least. And by themselves too. At sometimes by